Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk is
Elon Musk fan. Elon Musk.
In October 2008, as the global financial system was collapsing, one man was down to his last few $1 million. Not in the bank. Not safe. Every dollar already committed. One company was weeks from bankruptcy. Another had just suffered a catastrophic failure. Investors had walked away. Experts called him delusional. And yet, within a decade, that same man would build one of the largest fortunes in modern history. How do you go from the edge of financial ruin to a $200 billion empire? This is the story of how Elon Musk did exactly that. Before the rockets, before the electric cars, before the headlines, there was just a kid in South Africa. Elon Musk was born in 1971 in Pretoria. Not poor, but not powerful either. What most people don't know is that his childhood wasn't defined by privilege, but by isolation. He was quiet, obsessive, and relentlessly curious. At 10 years old, he taught himself programming. By 12, he had already sold his first video game for $500. But money wasn't the goal. Escape was. He wanted out. Out of South Africa, out of limitation, out of a life that felt too small. So at 17, he left. Alone. He moved to Canada, then to the United States, chasing something bigger. The internet boom was just beginning, and Elon Musk saw what most people didn't. Not just a technology shift, but a complete rewriting of how money, information, and power would move. And he wanted in. In 1995, Elon Musk dropped out of Stanford after just 2 days because the internet was exploding, and he believed classrooms couldn't keep up. So he started a company, Zip2. It was a simple idea, help newspapers get online. But simple didn't mean easy. He slept in the office, showered at the YMCA, worked nonstop. And for a long time, nothing happened. Investors weren't convinced. The product struggled. But Musk pushed forward, relentlessly. Then in 1999, it paid off. Zip2 was sold for $307 million. Musk walked away with $22 million. For most people, that's the end of the story. For him, it was just the beginning. What happened next shocked everyone. Instead of cashing out, he doubled down. He poured nearly all of his money into a new idea, an online bank. At the time, the concept sounded absurd. People didn't trust the internet with their money, but Musk did. The company became X.com and eventually merged into what we now know as PayPal. But behind the scenes, things weren't smooth. There were power struggles, leadership conflicts, and in 2000, Musk was pushed out as CEO. Imagine that. You build the company, and then you're forced out. Most people would walk away. He didn't, because in 2002, PayPal was sold to eBay for $1.5 billion. Musk earned around $180 million. Now he had real capital, real leverage. And this time, he wasn't going to play it safe. Instead of investing in something predictable, he did something almost irrational. He split his fortune into 3 bets, all high risk, all capital intensive, all considered nearly impossible. Space exploration, electric vehicles, and solar energy. SpaceX, Tesla, Solar City, 3 industries where companies usually fail, even with billions behind them. And Musk? He was funding them himself. What most people don't know is that SpaceX's early years were brutal. The first rocket launch in 2006 failed. The second failed. The third also failed. Each failure cost tens of millions of dollars. And each time, critics got louder. They said private spaceflight was impossible. They said Musk was burning cash chasing a fantasy, and at the same time, Tesla was struggling too. Delays, cost overruns, production issues. It wasn't a success story, it was a slow-motion collapse. The crisis. By 2008, everything came crashing down. The global financial crisis hit. Investors disappeared overnight, credit markets froze, and Musk's companies were bleeding money. SpaceX was on the verge of shutdown. Tesla couldn't secure funding, and Musk himself was running out of cash. This is the moment most people don't see. Not the billionaire, not the visionary, just a founder. Desperate. He had one final shot. One last SpaceX launch. If it failed, the The company was dead. No funding, no backup plan, nothing. The rocket launched. And for the first time, it worked. Falcon 1 reached orbit, a historic breakthrough. But even that wasn't enough, because success doesn't pay bills overnight. SpaceX still needed contracts, Tesla still needed cash, and Musk was still nearly broke. Then, something unexpected happened. In December 2008, NASA awarded SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract. That single deal saved the company. At the same time, Tesla secured a last-minute investment that kept it alive. It was inches from collapse. Inches. But survival wasn't the end of the crisis. It was just the beginning of a new phase. Because now, Musk had to prove these companies weren't just lucky. They had to become sustainable and scalable. Tesla faced years of skepticism. Critics said electric cars were a niche, too expensive, too impractical. But Musk pushed forward. He bet on vertical integration, on software, on battery innovation. And slowly, the narrative began to change. Model S launched in 2012. It wasn't just good, it redefined what an electric car could be. Meanwhile, SpaceX did something even more radical. It made rockets reusable. Think about that. For decades, rockets were single-use. Launch once, destroy forever. Musk challenged that assumption. And when SpaceX successfully landed a rocket booster for the first time, it wasn't just a technical achievement, it was an economic revolution. Costs dropped, access increased, and suddenly, SpaceX wasn't a gamble anymore. It was the future. But the pressure never disappeared. Production issues nearly sank Tesla again in 2017. Musk called it production hell. Sleeping in factories, working 100-hour weeks. Because failure was still very real. So how did Elon Musk go from the brink of collapse to building a $200 billion empire? The answer isn't luck, and it isn't just intelligence, it's something more precise. First, he plays long-term games in industries most people avoid. Space, energy, transportation. These aren't quick wins. They require patience and massive risk tolerance. But when they work, they reshape entire economies. Second, he reinvests aggressively. After Zip2, he didn't diversify. After PayPal, he didn't slow down. He concentrated his capital into a few massive bets. High risk, but high leverage. Most people protect their wealth. Musk used his to multiply it. Third, he operates at the edge of failure, not recklessly, but intentionally. He pushes timelines, challenges assumptions, because that's where breakthroughs happen, not in comfort zones, but at the boundary of collapse. Fourth, he understands narrative as much as engineering. He doesn't just build companies, he builds belief, investors, customers, governments. They don't just fund products, they fund vision, and Musk knows how to communicate it. Finally, he accepts volatility as part of the game. Stock swings, public criticism, operational chaos. These aren't obstacles. They're the cost of building something unprecedented, and most people simply can't handle that pressure. Today, Elon Musk's empire spans electric vehicles, space travel, artificial intelligence, and global communication, but none of it was inevitable. At multiple points, it almost didn't happen. One failed launch, one missed funding round, and the story ends very differently. So the question isn't just how he built it, it's this. How many people were standing at the same edge, with the same opportunity, but chose to step back? Because building something extraordinary isn't just about vision. It's about how close you're willing to get to losing everything. The story of BillionTrace continues next week. If you want to understand what really happens behind the world's greatest fortunes, you know where to find us.